Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Eastchester Planning Board meeting for Thursday, June 25th, 2026. I will note that today is the 150th anniversary of the Battle of the Little Bighorn, Custer's last stand. I read that in the New York Times the other day, so we will note it and move forward. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's do the roll call. I'm Phil Nemesek. I'm the acting chairman today. Lauren Goodrich.
Present.
Joseph Rubino.
Present.
Michael Fortuno.
Present.
And James Bonanno, the full-time chairman, will not be present today. So moving on, I make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, the May 28th, 2026 Planning Board meeting, subject to the few minor revisions that I circulated earlier today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have a manageable agenda today. We have two items that have been adjourned and will not be heard at this meeting. One of them is application 26-06, 142 Highland Avenue, which was originally on our agenda for today, but after conversations with the planning department, the applicant recognized that this was not likely to result in an approval today, and rather than waste everyone's time, has decided to start the summer early. So we're not going to hear that one, application 26-06, 142 Highland Avenue. It's been adjourned to the board's September 24th, 2026 meeting. The same is true of application 25-18, which is 210 Marbledale Road subdivision, which has been adjourned to our September 24th, 2026 meeting, which is our next meeting. All right, so we have 3 items of old business, and I believe it's 4 items of new business. Let me check that. Yes. So the items of old business that we will be addressing today in order are application 26-20, which is 26 Hathaway Road, application 26-21, 28 Hathaway Road, those are related. Application 21-17, which is the 15 Tuckahoe Avenue subdivision. Those are the 3 items of old business. And the 4 items of new business are as follows. Application 26-22, which is 12 Cross Hill Road. Application 26-31, which is 45 White Road. The third new item of business is application 26-18, 134 Hilburn Road. And finally, we will wrap up this season with application 26-17, 56 Anderson Avenue. All right, so without any further delay, let's get to application 26-20, 26 Hathaway Road. And I suspect we can also, because they're sufficiently related, also hear at the same time application 26-21, 28 Hathaway Road.
Good evening, Board. Adamo Maiorano from Community Designs and Engineering. On behalf of the applicant and owner, Gregory Holcomb, we are proposing a new single-family dwelling at 26 Hathaway Road, as well as the house next door, which is 28 Hathaway Road. As you know, this project is part of a 3-lot subdivision. There is a existing house, which is 10 Hewitt Avenue, and that's at the corner of 10 Hewitt and Hathaway Road. That existing home will remain. There's no changes to be done to that home. There was some, existing impervious surfaces removed, on that property so that it would be completely conforming to the new size of the lot. These homes are situated in the R10 zoning district, but they are oversized. They're just a little bit over 15,000 square feet each parcel, and then 10 is a little bit larger than those. As far as the sort of overall design of these homes, 26 is in the middle of 10 Hewitt and 28 Hathaway Road. I'll just go to the elevation really quick. So this home takes on a little bit of a modern farmhouse feel. It has white hardy plank siding, has white board and batten vertical on the gable in the front. And in this parcel, because of the oversized lots, we were able to do a little bit something more creative. We sort of kept the composition of the house smaller in size facing Hathaway Road, and we were able to shift the house a little bit longer and create the garage, the two-car garage on the side of the house. So basically, in this house, in the middle of it, you enter a one-lane sort of driveway, and then you turn into to the left, and you could access the garage that way. This also allows us to have a little bit of a greater setback from each of the homes. So in here, this side, setback, required is 16 feet, but we're at about 25 foot, and then so on. So each home has about 40 feet in between. So it creates a good consistency with the streetscape so that these homes are not sort of, right up against each other. Just to go back quickly to the finishes, pretty standard finishes as you see in the area. This one has black Anderson 400 series windows, has simulated divided light, which is just a vertical divider. All of the trim is white AZAC, and the roof on this one is a pewter gray asphalt shingle roof, and some of the accent roofing is standing seam metal roofing. The garage and the front doors are just as depicted in the elevations. As far as the side elevation, this is the left side elevation, and the rear of the house. This one does have, obviously, the garage comes back a little bit further and has a little covered patio area with a gas fireplace there for people to sort of enjoy, small outdoor patio and then also a covered patio. As far as back to the site plan, so this, again, because it was the 3 lot subdivision, there was a whole bunch of other sort of, there was a 3-car garage, there was a pool, there was a pool house. So with the subdivision, all of that impervious area was removed. The benefit with this project was really, there was no, stormwater mitigation for those areas, but in this case, all of our new impervious area for this house and the house next door will be captured. Obviously, we did on-site testing with our consulting engineers, percolation tests and deep tests, and we sort of came up with, with plenty of room, which is nice too. We have plenty of room and an area to fit our 100-year storm in the front and back for this home to mitigate all of the new impervious area. As far as, just to go back to, actually, so the streetscape on this one, obviously, so this is the 10 Hewitt Avenue. It's the right side elevation of the home. It's just a red brick home. This is our new house in the middle, which is 26, and then to the right is 28 Hathaway Road, which is the next house on the agenda, sort of a typical center hall colonial home that's to the right of us. As far as just a little rendering of what this home will look like, and then obviously with new homes, there's a full landscape design. It was done by Bob Tramontano. This shows what all of the new landscaping around the house, around the foundation, and also on the property lines. There's some evergreen screening. As far as the entire parcel between 26 and 28, there are no trees to be removed. All of the existing trees we are trying to keep, trying to put drainage and everything away from the root system and foundation away from the root system, so we could keep all the significant trees. The only actual trees that are being removed, not really trees, but in the front of this parcel, there's some evergreens that you see here. Those are to be removed, but other than that, there's a whole lot of new landscaping that's going to take place around not just the house itself, but the property line. In this case, too, in the back of the home, there is a slight slope of the the property. We're gonna try to raise the property just a bit, and the maximum, there's a existing wall that's sort of collapsing and whatnot, so there's gonna be a new interlocking wall along the left side of this sort of property, just a little bit as it comes up towards almost the back of the house, and then the entire back property will be a new interlocking wall, about 4 feet is the max, and then evergreen planting above that retaining wall. We did go to the Architecture Review Board last month. There was no comments other than there was some neighboring concerns of if these homes were gonna be too close to the property line than the other homes next to it. So we sort of did a streetscape study as we submitted in the packet that shows what the other homes are compared to our homes, and it really does fit in very well. Just to run down some of the numbers, 32 Hathaway Road has a 36-foot setback, 30 Hathaway Road has a 32-foot setback, and then our house is at 37 feet, which is 28 Hathaway, and then this home is at 38 feet from the property, but the front porch is at the required setback, 30 feet, and then the side of 10 Hewitt is at 34. So if you really sort of sum up all those numbers, it's a very good consistency, so that, you know, one house is not much further than the other. Sort of keeps that roadway and those setbacks of the home is very consistent.
When the air conditioning unit is,
Yeah, so our air conditioning units, obviously, they're facing what the new development
Yep.
is, not the neighbor. So on this one, it's to the left-hand side. Again, it's adjacent to 10 Hewitt, and then vice versa. When we 28 Hathaway Road, the units are on the left-hand side facing 26. You want me to jump in quickly to the other one, and then we could do
yeah,
questions?
I think
Okay.
it makes sense to do that.
Perfect.
It's one subdivided
Okay.
parcel.
Yeah.
And I think the comments that we'll open a public hearing and close a public hearing for each
They go together.
application, but I think there may be some overlap, if any.
Go quicker, yeah. So yeah, so this one again, this is 28 Hathaway Road. This one, again, as we mentioned, sort of takes on that, I'll flip it over, Center Hall colonial design. This one, again, this one has the garage doors facing the front of Hathaway. As far as the finishes, somewhat similar to the other house, but this one we chose to do more of a traditional materials. Again, the hardy plank, but white windows, a 6/1 grill pattern, Anderson 400 series windows. This one has a charcoal color asphalt shingle roof. Pretty basic, nothing, you know, jogging out like the other one. Pretty standard, you know, garage front door materials. There's a little bit of a stone veneer on the portico, the 2 columns there. Streetscape, again, this is, sorry, what is that one? 30 Hathaway Road, then 28 and 26 next to us. Obviously, they're sort of crunched a little bit together to fit it on the paper. Again, there's a good 40-foot distance between, you know, each home.
Does 30 go down? The driveway goes down?
No, 30 goes straight, it's
just the
very
photo.
level.
Yeah.
There's like a foot difference from the street to the garage. So it's a very, very flat driveway. As far as, yeah, the homes,
No, I'm talking about 30, not 28.
30, oh, no, yes, sorry. 30 does have, yeah, the
Yeah, I'm
garage.
gonna say, either my
goes
eyes
down.
are lying to me,
Oh,
or that's
yeah.
recessed.
30 does have a garage that goes down. You can see the stone retaining wall here, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, these homes are very, you know, well, the sources, but yeah, there's only about, you know, 2 steps to get into the first floor. So they're set pretty low to the ground as far as, you know, not a whole bunch of steps to get up to them. And the property is, overall, given the size of the property, it's very level piece of property.
Good, and I know you were before the Architectural Review Board. Can you fill us in first on 26, what the ARB had to say, and then 28?
So yeah, same for really both, was again, just to try to come up with a nice site, street setback, I would call it, to just show that the homes are consistent to one another.
Got it. Yeah, I understand there were questions about that
exactly. I
at
think
the ARB meeting. Yeah.
might have been a confusion where maybe they thought that the property line is the actual street line. So, you know, when you look at the site plan, you see, you know, a 30-foot set, well, this 30-foot just shows where the actual required setback is, but see that the house is actually at 37. Might seem that, hey, it's 37 from the street, but that's not the case because there's a good, you know, 14.5-foot buffer.
Got it. But it's consistent with the other homes
Sure,
on that
sure.
side of the street. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And that was the ARB's only comment with respect to both of them?
Yeah, well, more of a neighboring concern, so the ARB wanted to see that, nothing as far as the, you know, aesthetics of the home, or finishes, I'd say.
Well, we have the materials here.
Oh, yes.
So, any questions from other members of the board?
Oh.
Have any good summer plans, Adamo?
Finish
You don't
these
have to
up
answer
now.
that, don't worry. No, I think I like both designs quite a bit. I think we have Mr. Bolander here, who's conducted a review of both properties. Since you're here, you might as well get up and speak to them. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Good evening, Rick Bolander, KCJ Consulting. If you recall from our memo back in April, you know, that was for the subdivision approval, but I kind of got ahead of myself and got into the site plan comments as well. There wasn't too much to comment on subdivision-wise, so I said, okay, let me get ahead and address some of the site plans issues, and then nothing major, all minor, kind of just crossing T's and dotting I's, and I went through the plans. Everything has been addressed. The stormwater design is very well thought out, good pre-treatment. The soils that we found on site were very conducive for the type of stormwater mitigation, the infiltration. So we are comfortable with the stormwater design.
Good, because that's always a concern from neighbors. You put something up where, well, in this case, there actually was a swimming pool, so there was some impervious surface already. But generally speaking, you have less pervious surface and more impervious surface by building two homes. So understandably, the neighbors are concerned that they don't want this to result in water flowing off of these properties onto theirs. And you know, your best estimation is that's not going to be a problem here. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement, and just to reiterate too, as the applicant had mentioned, there was development on, and I can't remember if it's 28 or 26, where there were impervious surfaces that were moved. Obviously, they weren't allowed to take credit for that. They treat that as a vacant site, so an even more ultra-conservative way for the stormwater.
Good. So no concerns that you can identify that shouldn't be able to be addressed by a competent building of these things?
Absolutely,
Okay.
no concerns.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Bolander? All right.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to make a motion first to open the public hearing on application 26-20, which is 26 Hathaway Road.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And I'm going to simultaneously open the public hearing for application 26-21, which is 28 Hathaway Road.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. If there's anyone here who wants to speak, gentleman in the back.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I'm Dr. Wallace Carter, owner of the house 30 Hathaway Road, which is immediately adjacent to the property, and I'm here to speak strongly in opposition to the plan as it's being proposed right now. My major opposition to this is, quite frankly, as I've heard before from this board numbers of times, both of these houses are completely, totally, absolutely out of character with the neighborhood, completely. and allow me to give you a 30-second history of Hathaway Road. The house that we currently live in was built in 1956 by my wife's grandfather. It was the second house on Hathaway Road. And I will tell you, in the last 60 years, there has been no new construction on Hathaway Road, and every house is completely and totally different than the next. Our house was originally designed as a Frank Lloyd Wright prairie house. When we took it over from our in-laws, we changed it to a green and green craftsman-style house. The house next to us is a ranch. There's a Central Hall Colonial. There's a brick Georgian. Nowhere, and I've heard before that there are multiple houses on the street that are white. Between Hubbard Circle and Northway, there are 2 houses that are white. These are 2 large mini McMansions that are going to sit side by side on this lot, which was previously basically a compound with a pool house, a pool, and a very large house on the front of the building. I mean, I think if you made this an MCAT question and you took somebody in a car and you drove them from Hubbard Circle to Northway and said, which of these don't belong and why, 100% of the people would get it right.
But Doctor, I think as I'm following you, you said that there are a number of different styles of houses that they don't match to begin with. So how does this upset the character that these also don't match?
Well, because I know that there's a sense here that these are quote-unquote unique houses. Again, I am not an architect, but I think if we're talking about uniquity, having 2 large white structures, which you can say one's a Central Hall Colonial and one's a farmhouse, but at the end of the day, they're large white houses. You can change the siding a little bit, you can move the windows one side to the other, change the color of the windows, but there are no houses that are strikingly similar standing next to each other on Hathaway Road, and I think that's the bigger problem, is that they're strikingly similar and they're standing next to each other. My other concerns, I think they've been addressed in that, as you can see from most of the houses on Hathaway Road. For example, in our house, we have a large island followed by a circular driveway. Initially, there was concern that these houses were going to be propped up against close to the curb, which would again be out of character with the neighborhood. And I think lastly, which I think I also heard tonight that there was a potential that these houses, the land might be raised, and as the property next to it, I'm worried about drainage. And right now, as it stands right now, when you take a look at this property, and we've only had a couple of small minor rainstorms, that's underwater. So I worry about that dramatically. And I also would like to be assured that the current ecological concerns are going to be addressed. From the corner of our property to the tip of Hewitt Avenue, there's one after another, after another, after another, mature planting, beautiful flowering trees and plants. I don't see, I'd like to know if there's going to be some plan to replace those rather than just small bushes in front of the house. There are also a number of very large trees that are on the property adjacent between our property and the new property. Mature plantings, 60, 70 feet tall, beautiful buildings. There's one pine tree back in the corner, not Rockefeller Center ready, but it is beautiful and it's 70 feet tall. Those not only give shade, but they also add character to the neighborhood. And I'm afraid that
I'm a major proponent of trees.
So those are it. And I would like to thank you for the opportunity to address the board tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I would assume that those comments are principally directed to 28, but also 26. I think, I understand them. Adamo, can you speak to the plantings first? Because I know you said that you're retaining certain large mature trees on the property, but I'm sure you can't save every one, right?
So every tree is being, maintained. No tree is to be removed for this, project.
Zero?
There,
Okay.
Zero, other
Okay.
than, let me just show pictures of the evergreens. A lot of pages here. So yes, this is the owner's home, trying to see where we are. Okay, so there's a few of these evergreens that we call it, not actual trees, just some of the evergreens here in the front. I think there's a better picture, but those are the only plants, I would say, that are going to be removed. Like, so if you see this tree here, all of those trees, if you see on the landscape plan, all of this pine here, that's all to remain. None of the actual significant trees are to be removed. They're all going to remain.
Okay, and the smaller, brushier evergreens, are they going to be replaced with other, show us your landscape plan, yeah.
What was that?
The landscaping plan.
Oh,
show
yes,
us-
yeah.
well,
So-
And show us what you're replacing, what's new to it.
You know, all of these circles are all of the new plants being replanted. There is a new tree being planted here in between the homes. I think that's a cherry tree. And then there are also between 28 Hathaway and 30 Hathaway, the owner's home, there's another tree. It's I think a pear tree that's also being planted. And then there's infill, so there's existing 12-inch tree that will remain, another tree here. All of the trees along the property that divides 28 and 30, all of those trees will remain, but they're also infilling some hydrangeas, some spruce pines, in between where there's voids of those trees.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
A better picture of the... Yeah, so essentially it's a few of the actually I think they consider some of these bushes, but it's a few of the plants that are here that are going to be removed.
The good doctor had a question about, which you did mention, about raising a small piece of part of the property. Why don't you explain that for us?
That is the back corner of 26. So right here, you see this, this sort of red contour. So right now, 28 contour cuts across the house here, and that basically just shifts down here so that where the property sits, it's a little more flat. So essentially, you know, nothing really gets raised. It's only that 28 contour gets shifted back. There's already a retaining wall at the rear of the property that spans both properties. It's just going to be rebuilt, sort of collapsing and not in good shape.
And in any event, your stormwater management plan accounts for exactly this, the sculpting of the property.
All of that, yes. And we were very, you know, wise about not putting, you know, Coltec units next to these trees as well and keeping them away from the root system. Again, we have plenty of room on the property so that we can sort of do that. Oh, this is the 12-inch. So this is that 12-inch tree that is on the corner there that you see in the picture that remains. And it's, I guess really it's these evergreen bushes that are being removed. It's essentially the only thing that's being removed as far as trees. So yeah, I mean, we, you know, just to talk of the aesthetics of the home and fitting into the character, I mean, you know, what's good is these homes are not for a specific buyer, so it's very specific on, hey, I want this to be a modern glass house or something that maybe doesn't fit in the home. You know, the owner's trying to, you know, make these homes appeal to the broad span of people. The people that would buy a home today look for something of this character. And you see some of the homes that were renovated, I mean, I have some pictures, but some of the homes that were renovated on Hathaway sort of have similar features, a modern Tudor that they did black windows on it. There is a home across the street here. Sorry, this is 8 Hewitt. It's a very large home, but it's a center hall colonial white siding, very similar to 28 Hathaway that we're proposing. So I sort of do take the time to look at homes in the area. There is a Craftsman home also, I believe that is 4 Hathaway Road. That's sort of a Craftsman style home. It has...
Just to piggyback on that comment, I was just looking on the streetscape, excuse me, and I believe if it's correct, thank you, what I'm getting, yep, I also have on here 33, 31, 25, 26, and 28. To your point, not necessarily the modern farmhouse, I'll say structural build, but the aesthetic of the white siding, black shutters. So definitely the structure of the house gives it that dimension. Again, that kind of ranging facets of different houses on the street, but still ties it together with the aesthetic, so.
Yeah, and there is no, actually, I mean, the only house that was done probably in the past 10 years is 43 Hathaway. I did the plans for that one. It's further down the road, but that is a center hall colonial with dormers on the front. That's a much larger home than these. Even, you know, the house across the street, you know, none of these homes are, I would, you know, asking for any variances or whatnot that are over, built. The 28 is much, I think we're like 500 square feet less than what you're able to build. And this parcel here, it's in the middle of them, so we're able to build a little bit bigger house so that it's sort of consistent because it's away from any of the neighbors. It's tucked in between them.
Yeah, no, I understand the concern.
Sure.
But these are also homes that are being built in 2026.
Yes.
And this is what people want in 2026. They're sizable enough properties that they can hold a house of this size. And I think massing-wise, these homes are not out of character with some of the other homes in the area. If you had a uniformity of a certain style of home, and you plunk these ones down right next to it, and they were completely out of character from everything else, I might have a greater consideration. But even then, I know we've permitted very modern houses in the end of a cul-de-sac when none of the neighbors complain.
Sure.
But it strikes me that these two homes are sort of their time and place, and I suspect they'll age well because there isn't anything about them that's too esoteric. I don't think it will that it will be a problem 15, 20 years from now. But 15, 20 years from now, they may look like a 2026 house and not a 2046 house. But I don't know that there's a solution to that concern because there isn't a prevailing model of home on this street that we can discern. And these are attractive homes. It looks like they're going to be built very well. We've already heard Mr. Bolander opine on the stormwater management, and there are no concerns from his standpoint, and he's looking at it from a very neutral standpoint to advise this board. Very much appreciate your comments. I appreciate your concerns, and I know it has to be difficult to have gone from effectively an empty lot to now having two homes there. But that's the owner's right to build them if they can comply with all the requirements, and thankfully Mr. Majorano tends to do a very thorough job on these, and I think to me it looks like they'll fit in very well in the neighborhood. So, any other comments from this board?
No, I mean, I agree with what you said, Phil, about being in compliance and the right to their, to build them in that style. But I had the same concern looking at them, just that it's becoming a tiring look. But it is what it is. People are asking for it. I mean, can't tell people not to build it, but it's kind of,
Well,
what you say.
that's why we're changing it.
Yeah.
One is
There's different elements on each one, but
the center hall is your traditional one, and then
that's was going to be my question about the ARB. Maybe making a suggestion with like changing one of the siding colors or something like that. But I guess that didn't come up. Like making one, I don't know.
White is pretty much as neutral as you can get, and so when an owner buys it, if they don't like white, they can probably change it to whatever they want.
And they are very much, it's not, you see some developments where you see the same house that, this house is just mirrored and it's the same. You have a house that has a 2-car garage facing you. Now you have a house that has total different composition, has no garage facing you. So they are similar finish. I mean, they're built basically in the same year, so you can have some, but they are very much different to be, you want them to be similar but different at the same time.
Right. I think that was all the gentleman's questions. I think we've responded to them. The raised property, the landscape plan, the massing and/or style as it fits into the neighborhood. Again, I appreciate your thoughts, your input. I'm okay with it. So any other comments from the public on either 26 or 28 Hathaway? barring which I'm going to make a motion to close the two of them separately. So, all right. Not having heard from anyone else, I make a motion to close the public hearing for application 26-20, 26 Hathaway Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now I make a motion, a separate motion to close the public hearing for application 26-21, 28 Hathaway Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any further comments from this board?
I do have some standard conditions if you'd want to consider a resolution of approval for the applications. I'll just go through
Sure.
five conditions which would be applicable to both resolutions. The first would be that before a certificate of occupancy is issued, the applicant shall provide a certification from a landscape architect that the landscaping was installed in accordance with the landscape plan. Note that pursuant to Town of Eastchester zoning law, section 9M1, all portions of a lot not used for building structures, parking areas, or similar improvements must be properly landscaped with appropriate landscaping in accordance with the approved landscape plan and appropriate ground cover. The use of artificial turf is not permitted in the town. And, number two, prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall pay all outstanding application fees, including any outstanding consulting fees accrued during the review of this application or after the date of the resolution to confirm that any conditions have been satisfied. And then some ongoing conditions. Number one, tree protection measures consistent with industry best practices shall be applied to ensure that the existing trees are not damaged during construction. Number two, prior to any work related to the proposed driveway, the applicant shall obtain a street opening permit from the Town of Eastchester Highway Department. And finally, the approval authorizes the applicant to undertake only the activities specifically depicted on the project plans. Any changes or modifications to the plan requires amended site plan approval from the planning board.
Thank you. All right.
Is there anything to do as far as approval or anything to be granted if in the future, as long as it's owned by this homeowner, for the trees not to be removed that were of concern as the neighbor? Or is that not something to be regulated?
So we don't have a tree removal ordinance in the town. The board, as a matter of historical practice, hasn't prohibited tree removal. It is something that you can consider for a period of time, like, for example, for a property at the last meeting, the applicant was planting some trees, and they're prohibited from removing them for a period of 5 years. So it is something that you can consider. It should be carefully crafted to provide enough flexibility to remove it if the tree becomes a hazard or an issue.
Then that's obvious, yeah.
Yeah, I am very hesitant to impose any such condition. And again, I've literally fought for trees. I've appeared at meetings and tried to make assurances that trees would stay in place. I remember doing so a few years ago at a zoning board meeting, and it turns out the neighbor just cut it down the minute he could. Nothing much I could do about it, didn't like it, but that's, you know, the great freedoms that we enjoy as Americans. We can cut trees down if we want. And the town does not have limitations on it. If you feel strongly about it, you know, lobby your elected politicians, although I rather think that the last thing we're all looking for is new regulations and the need to have an enforcement team. I would like to think that the new owners will appreciate the great work that you will be doing and will leave everything to flourish. And good trees have all kinds of positive features to them. And so I'm going to give the prospective owners the benefit of the doubt that they have half a brain.
Sure.
Right?
And then
So,
there's quite a bit of room, you know, most of these trees are along the property lines, not like in the middle of the yard. They can't do anything. So there's plenty of room if they wanted to do something to these property too, that the trees should not be affecting anything they want to do.
yep.
Great.
All right. So, subject to the conditions that Noel just read, I make a motion to approve application 26-20, 26 Hathaway Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And again, subject to the same conditions that Noel read a moment ago, I make a motion to approve application 26-21 28 Hathaway Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Enjoy the summer.
You too.
Two.
Enjoy the 4th of July, 2:50. Yeah, enjoy the 4th of July, yeah? Coming up in 10 days. All right. Next, we have application 21-17, 15 Tuckahoe Avenue subdivision. Let's get set up.
Good evening, Michael Mastrogiacomo, engineer for the project. Since we were last in front of you, we've been working with your consulting engineer to go through all the drainage and all the calculations, and I believe we're almost there to tweak some of the numbers and make sure we have everything good. I'm here for any questions or discussions that we may have to try to move this project along a little bit more.
Okay. Well, since I think you were here a couple months ago, was it?
A couple months
Yeah.
ago.
Have there been any material developments in the application since then?
So a lot of what has been discussed has to do with the stormwater management system. We've made sure that the system is large enough to handle the stormwater from the new roadway, and we're developing the overflow structure with the outlet to make sure we release it, because the system is designed as a detention system. So that's the largest item that we've been working on. As far as any other changes, I don't remember if we went over this last time, but now the houses, the sewer main it's a force main system up to this dead-end manhole, which is in an easement in lot number 1, and then it'll be gravity fed into Tuckahoe Avenue. We've had the existing sewer system cameraed. Everything looked good. We shared it with your consultants, and we also gave it to DPW, and Rocco said he was fine with it as far as that is concerned.
Okay. Give me a summary. We're proposing 4 new homes that aren't there, plus
Correct.
a road into the facility. There's a lot of impervious surface there.
Yes, there's a lot of, so currently there's an
Wait,
existing.
let me finish my question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. If you could summarize for me, where's the water going? Where is all the water going? What's going out to Tuckahoe Avenue to meet up with the sewer main, and what's happening to the water in the back of the property alongside that retaining wall? What's happening in that lower right-hand corner, which is I think in particular the water that had previously been, I think, traversing the adjacent properties on Duluth and Howard Avenue, and I know that there was a representation some months ago that there were going to be easements running that water through the neighbors' properties and onto either a Joyce Road or Howard Avenue system, and I thought that was now not the case, but there still is in your, I guess, I think it's plan sheet C101. I think it's the one on the other side. There is still a reference to a 15-foot drainage easement. So tell me how. First, generally, where is the water going, and is all of it going in one direction? Is it going in multiple directions? I know you have retention systems in place here. Give me that overview, because that's still a major consideration here.
Okay, so as far as stormwater is concerned, the new houses, the 4 new houses will have drywall systems for those houses. That's independent of the roadway. The roadway is being collected via catch basins and piped to a detention system that is sized for the 100-year storm to pick up all the stormwater off the new road. Nothing is being spilled out onto Tuckahoe Avenue. Everything is being collected into this detention system. It is then being released through a series of pipes connecting to the existing piping that's in the ground already that leads out to Howard. And we are making sure that the flow going out is less than what is currently there. These are the numbers that I've been working with your consultant, with Rick, to make sure that these numbers, that this system is large enough to carry the flow of the runoff and discharge it at a lower flow than what currently exists at the property now. That's just all vacant land. Because currently, everything does pitch down to this point.
Yeah,
And there's a series of
it
existing
goes down,
catch
and
basins.
that's a retaining wall that kind of blocks everything. It's a dam, right?
Right, so now our grading, we're raising our grade, so we're actually gonna create another retaining wall to catch our grade, so we're not gonna be lower than this property. Because remember, the whole history of this was when they built the shopping center, they blocked the flow of the water, and that's when everybody started getting flooded. So we are making sure that whatever we're doing is not affecting any of our neighbors.
But there's still going to be water exiting the property towards that Duluth and Howard.
Into the existing piping system that's there.
Existing, but didn't we hear from some of the neighbors that, and maybe these are the same neighbors who didn't want to grant an easement, but I thought we heard that there was a very difficult water situation, that their properties regularly flooded. So to suggest maybe you're not making it worse, still isn't necessarily making it better. So I'm still not understanding, that as a solution.
So this system that was put in by the town back in the 50s, 60s, when everybody started complaining about, after the shopping center was built, water was coming in. Over the years that we've, my clients own the property, we've been out there, this system was covered over, we've uncovered the basins, it's collecting its water, it's draining it the way it was, I guess, designed at that time for however they figured out how to do it. Our release of water into that system is lower than what's currently there now. So we're actually making it better because we're putting
How much
less water
lower?
out.
What percentage lower?
I'd have to go back through the numbers, but I think we had 20% reduction, roughly. I don't remember offhand. I don't want to quote anything. But it is less than what is there now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not making it worse. That's good.
No. We got to make it better, not worse. Everything we've done with this whole subdivision, even as far as grading, we're trying not to affect the neighbors with grading. We're trying to make everybody safe. Not even happy, it's just make everybody safe. We don't want to have any phone calls that somebody's getting flooded, somebody's having water issues. We're trying to fix everything that's there and build this project so then we're actually making it better for the neighborhood and creating value for everybody.
Okay. I know I'm gonna definitely have to hear from Mr. Bolander on this, because I'm still, I understand what the goal here is, and I see all the, the water retention on each property as at least a partial fix to the problem, and that's the way it's done. There aren't, you don't have an infinite number of tricks up your sleeve, but the simple reality is we're taking an largely undeveloped property, developing it quite aggressively. There's quite a bit of impervious surface being created, and it's not the easiest of properties. That shopping center made it a difficult piece, and we also have heard already from neighbors talking about the difficulty with flooding on the property, and I won't comment on whether those neighbors should or shouldn't be more interested in making sure that a proper, larger or better, whatever you want to call it, pipe isn't, allowed over their properties. I think that was at one point going to be the solution here, and it, for whatever reason that's no longer appears to be the solution. It still leaves me with a lot of concern. So Any other members of the board have any questions on that before we go to Mr. Bolander or Mr. Giacomo, if you have any further comments on what I just said?
Yeah, well, a little bit into relation to what you said. So the neighboring property at 23 Tuckahoe has always been supportive of not only our project, but also to try to see if there was any kind of fix to upgrade the piping and all that. But I believe the people down at the last property that kind of tied into Howard, I guess they were a little bit nervous, which you can't blame them, you know, it's their property. And that kind of stopped the replacement of those pipes and upgrading them that could have helped even more relieve a lot of the water that's out there. But again, you know, everything we're working on together with Rick, we're making sure that what's going on now is going to be a reduction of what is currently there. That way then we don't have any negative impacts on any of the neighbors.
Remind me then, what, if anything, is going into the Tuckahoe Avenue, you know, the town sewage system there, the pipes there? Is it
Just the sanitary sewer. So each of the houses have a sewer ejector pump that pumps up to this manhole and gravitates into the existing sewer.
Got it.
And it actually dead ends right here, the sewer. It just
But the
flows. So we're
stormwater is
the way
all
at the
being
end.
retained
Correct.
on the property?
Right.
Okay.
And we haven't heard anything from the owner of 23 Tuckahoe Avenue either way about this application.
Okay.
I believe 3 years ago, she's actually the one that alleviated to us that there are pipes there, the whole history of when the shopping center was built, the flooding condition and how the town came in and alleviated the flooding.
Yep.
That's how we were able to find all the pipes and all the basins.
Okay. All right, again, anything? All right, let's hear from Mr. Bolander.
Good evening, Rick Bolander, CJ Consulting. There has been quite a bit of back and forth finalizing the stormwater design between our office and the applicant, and we have made progress. Still not a finished product. We're still working out some kinks, mainly towards the larger system that's collecting runoff from the driveway in the cul-de-sac. We're comfortable with each lot's system. The soils allow for infiltration. We were out there for the soils testing. The soils look good. But the larger system is in a fill area, so infiltration is not allowed, so we had to go to detention. And it's really, what's left in the design is kind of the outlet control structure, because obviously we're showing the line from the larger system down to the corner of the property to be improved, but then that's still going into a system that, as we all are well aware, is not in the best condition. So obviously, the goal is to reduce the flows as much as possible. So we're still working.
We're talking about the water retention system in the upper right-hand corner?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Which is, it's taking all the water from the street, yeah, and pushing it down towards that end. This is the stormwater.
Correct. So we essentially used this corner as the design point. That's where essentially the water is flowing under existing conditions. So the goal was to reduce the flows at that point. Again, each lot has its own separate system that allows for infiltration. And another requirement of ours, just to further safeguard the neighbors from water inundation, was we required a swale along this property line right here, just to make sure nothing was sheet flowing off-site. It will be collected in a controlled manner and included into the improved system right there.
So the swale it rises up, so the water, it doesn't flow over.
Correct.
Yeah.
It'll collect whatever is runoff from these sites and then directed into that system right there. And again, not a finished product, but we've made progress.
Is there underground water flow here, though?
We hit, I'm trying to think. Groundwater is at 211. in this area. The bottom of this system is set 2 feet as a requirement, as a New York State requirement. You're 2 foot of separation between the bottom of your system to groundwater, and that's for an infiltration system. Detention, you don't need that separation because you're not worried about, water coming back up into the system and whatnot. So the separation is still, it's still there, but because it's in a fill soil, infiltration was not allowed.
So,
Again.
to my question about the pipes along the right side of the rendering here, as best we can tell, these are not in good shape. How are they going to function?
Yeah, thanks. So that system, and this was before Rick was on the project, we went out there with Joe Tramelli, Rocco, got the camera. We ran a camera from Howard all the way up. Those pipes are clean and in very good condition. I don't know if... no, the stormwater. Those stormwater pipes going through those people's lawns, they're in very good condition. We ran, Rocco brought the camera out. We went, looked at it, and they were actually in very good condition. They weren't broken. There was no signs of deterioration, none of that. They're shallow. That's the only real issue with the system, is they're shallow and the pipes are a little undersized according to your code and also practical engineering. But the actual conditions of the pipes are in very good condition.
Right, and that's documented someplace?
I believe so, yeah. I believe Rocco has all that. I think Joe has a copy of it. Yeah. I think I might have some photographs as well. I'll dig them up and I'll send them over to everybody. So, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to bring that point up.
That's fine.
How does the size of what you're comparing compare with what's there?
Same size.
Same size, yes. And I'll confirm the condition of those pipes with the office.
Okay, because I guess I was under the impression from multiple hearings we've had that they were not in the best of condition, and maybe I conflated them being undersized with them being, but again, I'd like clarity on that point.
And I had that impression as well, but I would like to confirm that now, just to be sure, obviously.
What, you had the same impression I had,
Yes, about
yes,
the
okay.
condition of
Well,
those pipes.
we definitely need to clarify that, because I certainly don't want to impose on the applicant requirements that are unnecessary. The undersize is something that I think we can all agree on, but if they're functional otherwise, that makes a big difference, as opposed to pipes that are effectively non-functional that lead to nowhere. They're not pipes at all.
That's right.
Okay.
Mr. Master Giacomo, is there a plan what is the plan for the long-term maintenance of the stormwater management infrastructure?
So what our attorney has developed, and I think they were going back and forth with Noel, making sure all the details were correct, is that this system, there's going to be a restriction on all these properties that they're going to share the maintenance for this system. So a whole maintenance plan and an agreement is being finished up, and all these properties are having restrictions on their deeds. So then it's fully documented that they all share with the maintenance of that system.
Okay.
I think it's clear from what I've seen so far that the cost of maintaining it is going to be shared amongst the lot owners. What I still think needs to be developed further is who is actually going to be responsible for maintaining it, because we can't have each of the 4 lot owners with some kind of responsibility. We'll get a lot of finger pointing as to who is responsible. So we're still looking for an effective mechanism, because if this will work, it will have to be very well maintained. So we need to make sure that there is a clear person who is responsible, and what they have to do for maintenance is also clear.
Yeah, that'll ultimately be this homeowner, because the easement's on their property. That would be the main mechanism, is this is the point person basically to make sure that they talk to each of the other three to make sure this stays in
Could it be
you know,
third
working
party?
condition.
Or does it have to be by, I guess that's more for you to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm sure that they will have a third party come in to perform the maintenance, but how that person is retained, who is responsible for making sure that person comes out to maintain it, that's something that has to be worked out and has to be very clear.
Yeah, someone has to be, one person has to be legally responsible.
Right, so this is similar, like in theory, I guess, as like a backflow preventer in somebody's house. So, you know, the tester always sends out a mailing saying, hey, it's been 12 months, we need to schedule doing this. So that person that's in charge of, who did the inspection last, will probably send that mailings to everybody, get on a phone call, say, hey, here's a copy of your deeds, here's a copy of the restriction, here's a copy of this. I need to come in and to do the annual inspection on it.
Yeah, we can't rely on the contractor to do that, though. You know, an owner has to be responsible for being the point person on that.
Basically, that owner's gonna then have to pass the hat, right?
In terms of the
Yeah,
cost,
yeah,
yes, he'll have to be, that is what has to be worked out. Who will be responsible and the mechanism for billing back the other lots.
Is that something, Noel, that we have in other areas of the town? And if so, how do we work around that? Or has it worked?
Sure. Most often, with subdivisions that have common improvements like this, an HOA will be formed. The HOA will own the improvements, and then it will be responsible for maintenance. Here, the election is not to pursue an HOA, which is okay, given a subdivision of this size. It could be hard to fill a board and manage things, but in the absence of that entity there to own and maintain the improvements, there has to be an adequate alternative.
I mean, just out of curiosity, couldn't the town send out a letter saying, hey, it's time to check your...
That's not really the
From
town's
DPW
responsibility.
saying
It's going to be the responsibility of these lot owners.
No, I know, I'm just thinking out loud, you know.
Yeah, it becomes a policing issue again.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
Just ask Rob. He's,
In terms of enforcement,
yeah.
it definitely is an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, enforcement is policing is my word for enforcement.
And it sounds like maintenance is going to be very important, because if I'm understanding it right, the crux of this is going to be how fast water will leave this site, and if it's not maintained properly and it doesn't work exactly as designed, it's going to be a huge issue.
Right.
Do the properties to the east of it have anything set up? Because they look like a similar design with these like little inlets, cul-de-sac looking developments.
The
like
east, are you talking about the south?
Are you talking about
No,
like
it
the
is,
Luth,
it is. east.
Sage?
I stand corrected. You're right, east.
Yeah, heading east of this
On the bottom of the,
property, there's some other, like, they look similar to me where there's an inlet off of Tuckahoe with little cul-de-sacs like that, so are they maybe?
There's really not a lot of drainage. The only drainage is on Tuckahoe. I think it's past Duluth. Sage, I think, is the next street that actually has some sort of infrastructure. However, that stormwater infrastructure is not in good condition. That was one of the long discussions we had with Rocco and with Joe, again, before Rick. And that whole system has to be fixed. And the only other place to tie in was like 1,000 feet down the road on Tuckahoe, and it's
And none of,
just-
so I guess none of those other properties have anything like you were suggesting where there's,
Yeah, I don't know the history of those, so I'd have to go look and see how stormwater was handled and what the regulations for stormwater management were at the time they were developed.
those are dating back to, I think, the 60s when those subdivisions were done, and there was no stormwater laws like we have nowadays.
okay. The country market could, is that the property that was causing this, the country market,
Yeah, the shopping,
shopping center, sorry?
yeah.
Excuse me.
so, back to you, Mr. Bolander. What's still outstanding on this?
So it's essentially the detailing, the design of this. We've made progress in the last week. Been quite a bit of back and forth, but that still needs to be finalized. As I mentioned, we're comfortable with each individual lot stormwater mitigation. but it's the driveway
Yep.
and the larger system.
Yeah, and I also want confirmation regarding that, the pipes in the, I guess, northeast corner of the property, the ones that go out into Howard, that those are in fact in reasonably good shape, and, despite the fact that they're undersized, that they would in fact perform the function they're being burdened with at the moment. That's an open question that I do need an answer to.
So the system is ultimately collecting stormwater from the houses, the driveways, the main road itself, all to what's planned to be a sizable system to still decrease the previous by 20% or larger?
Correct. So each individual stormwater mitigation system on the lot will use infiltration, so that water will go back into the ground. Because of the location of the larger system that's collecting the driveway and the cul-de-sac, they weren't allowed to infiltrate. So that water is held in that system and slowly released through the improved pipes, which will eventually connect into that system on the neighboring property.
That'll go through to Howard Avenue,
Correct.
but assuming we have a functional system there.
Yes.
Okay.
Which
At this
will be
point, we
confirmed.
don't know how much or at what rate the water is leaving through those pipes.
We do not know yet.
Okay.
And it obviously depends on how heavy the rains we get and
Yes.
and all of it, because if we have a relative dry season, it's not going to be a problem. Yeah.
So, understanding that it's still in the works, do you believe that so long as the system is large enough, it will create a solution? It just depends on how large that system is
You're
for
exactly,
for detention.
You're exactly right, yes.
So that's to be determined, and then
That's
that'll
what-
be the
that-
ultimate
that's what we're-
determination.
yes,
Make a
that's what
bigger
we're working through
detention
right
tank
now.
or an even bigger detention tank, and eventually you'll get to a solution. It might just be a cost factor for the tank itself.
Correct.
And all of the sanitary is going out into Tuckahoe Avenue, just the sanitary.
Just the
sanitary.
All of the stormwater is being either retained
Percolated
or,
in the
or-
ground or
exactly.
conveyed towards Howard.
That's right, that's right. So all of it is staying on the property, at least initially, and the detained portion is ideally going to, if it reaches, well, I guess, it will always be pushed off of the property onto Howard in an ideal situation. You don't want it just sitting there indefinitely. right?
Correct. Absolutely.
So we need to make sure that part of the system is functioning.
And,
Do we,
and,
do we,
ju-
yeah,
and just as an aside, there's two databases where rainfall data is taken for these designs, and they're, believe it or not, actually very good at keeping up with the increase in rainfall that we're seeing, with the intensity of the storms. I as a design engineer, I had to look into that just so I knew, for my own edification. But they are, they seem to be very good at keeping up with the increase in stormwater runoff.
Can I ask one more question?
Yep.
How does what is proposed compare to what's there right now?
So what's there right now is essentially a vacant site. The soils aren't great. So you have, in the poor soils, there's less percolation and more sheet flow runoff. I don't want to get too technical here, but a number that we use in our stormwater designs is called a curve number. Impervious has a very high curve number of 98. D soils, which is what we found on this site, according to the USDA Web Soil Survey, have curve numbers in the 80s. A-type soils, high percolation rates go down, you're looking at curve numbers of the 30s and the 40s, just to give you an order of magnitude.
and there's no berms here, so that just flows off, right?
Is there a pipe currently on this property?
Coming in the back portion, yes, going
Yes.
towards Howard.
Okay.
Yep. pipes and inlets that I believe were installed in the 60s, I guess, to alleviate some of the flooding that was caused by the construction of that retaining wall that was holding that water back. So they needed some way to alleviate that, and that's when those inlets were installed. And that's another important thing to keep in mind too, not only the maintenance of that system, but the maintenance of the inlets and the pipes as well, because, you get a storm on a fall day and those leaves collect on those inlets and essentially render those inlets useless. So that has to be addressed as well. Not only the underground systems, but the above ground system is almost more important than the underground system.
And in the ordinary course, who would maintain them? The homeowner, right? Yeah. But here you have multiple homeowners. Yeah, okay.
But that's a very important part of this is the maintenance.
All right. And Master Giacomo, do we have any document that memorializes how the owner of the property that's, I guess, adjacent to the detention system is going to be responsible for, in the first instance, the costs of maintaining that unit, and with the understanding that those costs are supposed to be shared equally by all four owners of the new construction buildings? How is that going to be documented so that we're not just working on an honor system?
Well, I believe that's part of the maintenance agreement, that's part of the easement. The maintenance agreement's got to be part of the easement, which is part of the deed of the property, so it's all there. And when the title company pulls everything up, they're going to see there's a restriction on the property. What's the restriction? Oh, there's an easement. What is part of it? And it should all tie together.
And at what point do we see that?
We would like to have that, as soon as possible so we could start to review it. It will have to be submitted for recording when the plat is submitted for filing. So that happens contemporaneously, but the sooner we could start reviewing that information so we could understand the maintenance, the better.
I believe you and Jacob have been have reviewed it already.
We've talked, in
maintenance.
concept about the
Right.
payment. The
concept and
payment
all that.
is less important to the board. That's kind of
Yeah.
in a private agreement amongst the lot owners. What we're really interested in understanding is how it is actually going to get maintained. And if it's not maintained, who the town can contact to make sure it gets maintained.
Right, and I believe that was back and forth, because I have copies of that documentation that was sent to you about the actual maintenance agreement. not
Yeah, that
cost,
piece
part,
has
yeah.
not been addressed.
Yeah.
That piece is still outstanding. There is a draft that we've been working on. That's the piece that needs to be developed.
Yeah, I want to see one property owner responsible for this, like legally responsible for this. And, I understand that property owner is going to be a little ticked if the other three neighbors are a little slow at paying and may want to take it out on them by not maintaining it. And I don't know how substantial a cost it is. It may not be very much at all. I don't know. But I can't, we can't split it four ways. That just, it's like when you go to a restaurant and, one person's going to put their credit card up. You can do all the PayPals and Venmos you want after the fact, but one person's going to pay the bill, and I'm going to give you your food because I got one person's credit card. That's what I want to see.
Well, it's kind of similar to an HOA, because
Yeah.
this guy here is not going to know that, okay, I'm part of an HOA, I have to pay for that.
Yep.
So the documentation with the restrictions and everything is all going to
Yeah.
tie that all
And,
together.
and as Noel said, we're equitably, of course, they ought to be sharing it. But legally, I just want to have one person that I can say, it's your responsibility. Good luck collecting from the rest. If they're honorable people, it's not going to be a problem.
Well, yeah, well, that's the reason why we created an easement
Yeah,
on this lot,
that's right,
because this
that's
is the
right.
point person.
Okay.
To be the guy, the bad guy, basically to go to the other guy and say, here's your bill.
Yeah, work with Noel and the planning department on making sure that we have, that we're satisfied with the language of whatever restriction comes on that property, whatever easement, whatever we want to call it, that it passes muster on our end.
Yeah.
Because that's, the maintenance of this really is critical. Not only really of that, but as Mr. Bolander just said, of all the little Well, all the pieces of this.
Oh,
They all
I wanted
require-
to show you, I have a picture I just showed Mr. Bolander. Where did it go here? Can you hold this for a second? That's one of the pipes, the old pipes. So you can see it's nice and clean. There's no cracking. And if I swipe, this is the same pipe. So those pipes are in good condition.
Okay. Why don't you just put your phone over there for a second so we can zoom in on it? I don't know if that's really going to move the needle a lot, but, can we zoom in on that? Yep.
Should have brought my tablet.
Oh, well, maybe not. Well, okay, we're gonna have to look at that further, all right. It strikes me that we still have some work to do here. I think we've made some progress today. I think, put all of these photographs together. Mr. Bolander's going to go back and see what he has in his files. I think, though, that under the circumstances, we're going to, we're going to hold the public hearing now.
Right, it's, the public hearing is open, so you can
Open,
keep it open
yep,
to public
exact-
comment
And we're
today.
going to leave it open, but let's hear from the public. We already have the public hearing open, but I make a motion to hear from the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone here to comment on application 21-1715 Tuckahoe Avenue subdivision? Not hearing anyone. All right, we're going to keep this open, but
I guess, what was the original objective, since this is still an application for preliminary subdivision? Obviously, there's still open items related to it, so what's the objection that you guys are looking to?
We're looking to try to move this along. I know there's a little bit more to do with Rick, I think we're very close, as Rick said. And then we want to try to start getting to the health department to get their blessing on everything.
yep.
Got it.
Because we can't come back to you to get final or anything like that without the health department reviewing it.
That's right.
I've had a lot of conversations with Veolia Water. They seem okay with everything. They actually upgraded the water line on Tuckahoe Avenue, and it's actually on our side of the street, so we don't have to cross the street to tie in. Makes it easier for us. As far as the sewer, again, it's been TV'd, and we've spoken to Rocco at DPW, and he's okay with everything. So we kind of have everybody other than the county, saying you're good. And of course, with Rick, we just have those little things.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah, we would like to try to get to a point, especially now that it's the summertime, to hopefully finish up with Rick and then move on to the county level.
Yeah, okay, understood. All right, so I think you have an understanding of where we're going. Let's wrap this up. I make a motion to continue the public hearing on application 21-17, 15 Tuckahoe Road subdivision to the Planning Board September 24th, 2026 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks. Have a great summer.
Thanks, Rick. Good summer.
You too, Rick. All right. Next is our first item of new business, application 26-22, 12 Cross Hill Road.
Thank you.
Terrific, thank you.
Good evening, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dave Fedorenko. I'm actually the owner of the property. My architect wasn't able to assist me today because he has a family member who's in critical care at this point. So, but I'm very familiar with what's going on, so hopefully I'll bring your average application time hearing down today. Anyway, so what we're doing here today is we purchased this home on Cross Hill Road near the Leewood Golf Course. The intent is to just basically change the dormers that are on top that are really small to basically more of a flat facade in the front to get more headspace in the front portion of the house. One example is a bathroom that's on the end of the house actually has a pitched roof, so you can't even stand like in the bathtub properly. That being said, with the site plan, there's not going to be any changes to any, and no variances required. We're going to stay within the same footprint of the current site. You can see in here in the red, essentially the two dormers down here versus what's going to happen in front. It's just a pop out here, keeping it straight. There was already a bathroom on this side that was never finished. It was approved in plans in 1999. It says future bathroom, but it's already plumbed and electric and ready to go. So that's essentially good for us. It's less work on our end. As far as the house goes, this is the current addition. Small garage door, two dormers. Essentially, we're going to widen the garage door, put two large windows in the front. This would be something like a family room on the second floor, and then there'll be a laundry over here, and then again, that's that bathroom we talked about. The sides and the back is not even an issue it's not an event here. I don't like how the rendering looks, but it's going to look better in person. That's the current house there. The roof is extremely old. I got to meet some of the neighbors, my neighbor to the west, sorry. They've been there for over 35 years, and they said the siding's never been changed on the house. The roof itself, too, is also leaking, so like we just had that rain, and we had to put a bucket underneath. We're working on a permit currently to work on interior work at the moment, and then this will be an amendment to that job. And then to current homes in the neighborhood, where are we? We're right here, of course, and then under construction, 2 doors down is a much larger home. Our home will be similar to this type of front and down here, so 2 Knollwood and 1 Cross Hill. We're using, standard, we're using Pella Lifestyle windows, all casement with grills in the front. Cobblestone colored hardy siding with Monterey taupe type trims, different variations of 6 and 4 inch. Let's see, the GF Barkwood shingles and Bedford stone veneer in the Liberty style for that. We're gonna also, the good news is, since it needs a lot of love, it's going to be fully undressed, and we're going to put new house wrap, 1 inch insulation board to add an R value of 6 on that. And then what else we got here? And the doors and garage stuff will be more of like a walnut type color to give a little contrast. Again, I mentioned there's no variances needed for this particular job, and then no changes to the stormwater system at all. It's all existing. No changes for the setbacks, and we're not removing any trees or vegetation. Everything stays as is. And we did have a comment from the ARB last time. I think it was more because of how the drawing looked, because of all the blacks and grays mixing in. But we're fully aware, and we want casements with grills, and that's what we're giving, what they suggested.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions?
Just wanted to confirm, I see in the application here that the gross floor area, the square footage, has actually gone down from 2336 to 2321. How did you remove 15 square feet?
Correct. So what happened is, let me see if I can give you a visual. Okay. I forgot. Here's a better picture. This helps. So we lose some square footage. So this is the first floor. Oh, sorry, it's the second floor. Here's the first floor right here where the garage is at, which was very narrow.
Yep.
Here is actually a storage connected to the house, and that gets removed because it becomes garage space.
Got it.
So that's how we end up
space
losing
doesn't
some
count.
space.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
But no change in impervious surface on the property.
Impervious means?
Meaning that there's no more. you're not increasing the amount of concrete or asphalt.
Correct, yes.
Yeah,
No more,
okay.
no additional
Yeah,
concrete.
in
correct.
simplest terms.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
You're not losing grass.
Yes.
Is another,
Correct, yeah.
All right, yeah, because that's, and I believe that, if what I'm reading is correct, that the permitted square footage is actually lower than what they have, but since they already were non-conforming and they're reducing the
Correct.
degree, they don't have to go to the zoning board.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, that's good. And the height of the building, the ridge line?
No change on
remains the
that,
same?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. No, I like it. I think it's a very nice renovation and one that's going to make life on the second floor a whole lot better, I think.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So, I have no further questions. Anyone on the board have questions? Otherwise, I'm going to open it up for a public hearing.
no detention tank, right?
I'm sorry?
No, I'm just kidding. We were talking about detention tanks, so I just want to make sure we don't have to talk about it here.
So
Not at all.
I will say that the town has recently amended the standards for site plan approval related to stormwater management for all types of lots. It's a minor tweak from what was previously existing, so it's not substantially different, but it is new. So I do have just a standard condition kind of moving forward about stormwater management, which I could read into the record when it's the appropriate time.
Not yet, because
yeah.
I want to hear from the
Yeah.
public, all right? I make a motion to open the public hearing on application 26-22, 12 Cross Hill Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone for 12 Cross Hill Road? Going once, going twice, going 3 times, gone. I make a motion to close the public hearing on application 26-22, 12 Cross Hill Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I have no objection to this. I think it's a nice improvement. I'm ready to vote on it. Anyone have any reservations?
I just have 2 conditions for you to consider.
All right.
And this will be kind of a comment for additions and alterations going forward, kind of a new standard condition for now. So the first would be, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall provide a stormwater management and erosion control plan that's acceptable to the building inspector. That plan must show erosion control measures that are in accordance with the New York State Standards for Specifications for Erosion Control dated November 2016, and shall provide stormwater quantity control measures that are designed to demonstrate that there will be 0 increase in the peak rate of runoff on the lot in the post-development condition when compared with the existing condition and the proposed condition during all storms through the 100-year storm. Then the applicant shall provide proof that all stormwater quality control measures were properly installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy or certificate of compliance. So for additions and alterations, it's the delta between what's existing and what's being added. So if nothing's added, then no mitigation would be needed. If something's added, then you can review what.
Do you still
what
have to
that would be.
make the certification, even if nothing's being added?
I think you'd want the plans to show no increase in the impervious surface coverage. That would be the certification there.
Okay.
And then our standard condition that the approval authorizes the applicant to undertake only the activities specifically depicted on the project plans. Any changes or modifications require amended site plan approval from the planning board.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
So,
understood.
subject to those conditions that Noel just read, I make a motion to approve application 26-22, 12 Cross Hill Road.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
We appreciate that. Yeah, this property does decline quite a bit. It's on a hill.
Yep.
And you can see the water main just shut off is actually that much above ground. I don't know if that doesn't seem normal to me, but there's obviously been erosion over the years. Obviously, my intent now as the new homeowner there is to keep it from eroding. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is application 26-31, 45 White Road.
Do you need your samples back?
Oh, yep, please. Yeah, don't forget your sample. Yep.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, member of the board. My name is Yor Biba, the architect for 45 White Road. The scope of work here, we're proposing a second-story addition over the existing one-story addition and a small two-story addition at the front foyer area where we're trying to increase the open foyer on the first floor. The existing house right now has a very low roof on the front and has a partial second floor on the back. And as you can see here, I'm going to go through the floor plans a bit. On the existing floor plan, first floor plan, we have the small living room, a typical small kitchen that has not been renovated in a very long time. We have a family room and one bedroom. The house also has a one-car garage next to it, and we're proposing to open up the whole space on the first floor and put all the bedrooms upstairs. Over the existing garage right now, we have 2 bedrooms that they do share 1 bathroom in the middle, but we're proposing to turn that into the primary bedroom, where we're going to have a spacious walk-in closet and the bathroom for it. And then we're moving the other 3 bedrooms on the other side, where each of the bedrooms is going to receive 1 bathroom, and we're also going to have a new laundry for the second floor. We do not have a stair to the attic because we don't really need it. And the house also has an existing basement, partial basement, which I'm going to show right now, which it also does have a bathroom, so we're just going to keep it as is and just clean it up and open up the space for it. The elevation.
I have a question regarding the application itself, and as I see, again, this goes to the square footage as well, and I know that my notes for this application indicate that no variances are required.
No variance required.
But I'm also seeing that the square footage, the gross floor area of the existing is 1718, and that the proposed is 2977.
29?
I think it's a 4.
Oh, that's a 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 24. We're definitely within the FAR.
All right,
This is an oversized lot, so we actually have a bit
Okay.
more room at 2,500, I
All right.
think, or even more, 2,600.
I have to say, if this is your handwriting.
Sorry?
If this is your handwriting, then I gotta say, you gotta go back to school. It looks,
Oh.
well, no, see,
It could pass as
it could pass
That's
as a
a
9 or
4.
4. Okay. No, good news is, I was reading into something, I was reading into this a problem that doesn't exist. Because I was seeing a 9 and it's a 4. Okay? So you can disregard, you're within the limits. I was just curious as to why it was
Happy
not.
to clarify it.
Yeah, why it was not requiring a variance, and that would be the explanation.
No,
Okay.
and actually, speaking of variances, we're keeping everything, even the height. We could have gone even higher, so we're keeping everything just to get as much room as we need. We could have gone, like, we're just keeping the ridge under, just keeping it 610 feet for the collar tie, so we don't really need more space. And speaking of the front elevation here, we're continuing the same roof line, whatever on the left side of the house, and we're following up to create this area. This is the area where there's going to be the 2-story foyer, open up space. And materials, we're going to have architectural shingles, weathered wood. Siding, we're going to have James Hardy siding with black windows with white trim on the outside of the windows. And white AZAC trim, typical. And we're going to have a metal roof. We're replacing the roof here with from asphalt shingle to a metal roof. So that's pretty much it.
It looks like there's going to be the building coverage itself is going up by a small fraction from 1488 to 1506, if I'm reading the numbers correctly.
About 70, 80 square feet, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not, is it 78?
About.
It only looks like it's about 18 square feet, but I think it's going from 18% to 18.3% of the.
No, the 18 square feet is just the added addition over this area. Plus
Okay.
then also we're fixing a bit the patio at the rear, so
Yeah,
it adds up to
I
the
understand,
total, the numbers
but
that we have there.
my concern is, does that small increase in the impervious surface require any type of,
Right, so that would, any increase in impervious surface triggers the need to mitigate stormwater from that area. You can work out with.
Which we can provide before
Sure.
we get the building
Yeah.
permit. So
Okay,
we're
Right.
that's
happy
fine.
to do that.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure, because we're talking about new
Yep.
rules, and I'm trying to learn them
Yes,
on
thank
the
you.
fly. So, okay.
Happy to
that's good.
comply.
All right. No, but otherwise, boy, it's a terrific improvement to the appearance of the property.
Thank you.
What was that driveway that we saw before in the before photo?
I'm sorry?
Could you go to the before photo? I just was, the existing photo, I guess I would call it. Mhm. Yeah,
This is the existing driveway.
okay, existing driveway. And what's that in the lower left photo? Is that in the lower left photo right there, the
Okay.
bottom,
Well, this is this tree which is hitting the foundation right now. So we're going to remove that tree actually,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're also providing screening all over the property line, like a giant arborvitae. But we definitely need to replace this tree because it's hitting the foundation.
Yeah,
and
yes, yeah, understood.
Not-
What is in the area down here, again, of the four photographs, the one in the lower left quadrant? Yeah, what is that? What is that is that concrete?
Yes, it's a concrete that we're basically taking out. Is this existing portion here, like a patio was used somehow, must have been some sort of fire pit there in the middle, but we're going to relocate it to take it here. We're going to turn that into green grass, basically.
Got it, okay, because that was sort of a patio, is that what that was?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
when I was there, I couldn't tell much. I think it had a fire pit on it from the photos, so was being used
Okay.
somehow, or must have been a small tree, but
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
situation I found it when I took the photos.
Got it. All right, well, again, I think,
And we were in front of the architecture review board. We did not receive any comments from them. We got one comment from the public, and their question was basically on the left side. They're asking if we're adding any more windows to what we have right now. So I can show the elevation as well to show existing and proposed. So we're talking about this side, the left side, where the neighbor, so the existing, it does have 3 windows on the second floor over the garage and 2 windows in the garage. So we're basically just relocating the 3 upper windows to fit a bed between the 2 windows. And this is the the new master bathroom window, which is pretty much the same window size, is just pushing them left and right a little bit to accommodate the new floor plan.
yeah, it's fair. I don't have an issue with that.
But other than that, I mean, they were
Okay.
good.
Good. Any other questions from this board? All right. Then I make a motion to open the public hearing on application 26-31, 45 White Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any members of the public to speak on 45 White Road? Sure. You announce your name and address on the record.
Diane Majori, 43 White Road, owner. I had a question about the height of the roof above the existing roof line that's above the garage.
So the gable.
Just if you could grab the microphone so it all goes on the record.
So the height of the roof, our highest point so far is at 30.5 feet, which from the allowed, which is 33. So we're well under the part.
Is it an increase of what the existing is? Just out of,
Well,
Highest point
Yes, it is an increase because we're adding a full second floor, so definitely it's an increase, but still within the zoning requirements.
Mhm.
And this is continuous, or there's a separation between the top of this gable?
Excuse me, ma'am, if you could take the microphone when you're asking a question, because the court reporter is going to want to get this down.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if this border to this gable and this gable, are they adjacent?
So what we're trying to do with that, we're keeping this part. We're obviously going to change the roof and we're going to put insulation and everything, maybe new rafters, but we're keeping the same pitch. This is continuing here, and it's going to meet the same pitch on the other side of the house, so we can keep the same look from the front, and that puts us still within the allowable height, building height per zoning.
My house faces this side, that's why I was
Plus, also we're putting screening on the other side, all around the property line, so we're providing screening throughout, so to help that part as well for privacy.
I think, do you have an elevation view
Yeah, say
from her
perhaps flip
side
to
that
the
you
other.
could show it?
The other side?
This way
Sure.
she could see for the
Oh, yeah.
perspective of her house with the windows that you showed prior.
This is the existing versus the proposed.
But this is going to be much higher.
Yes, it's continuing up for the second floor, because this is a split level. This is just above the garage, which garage is in ground, so it's going full height for the second floor.
Okay, so the windows are going to be in the same area?
Same location, I mean, same
Right,
area.
And this is where the roof ends now, and then this is going to be the new roof.
Exactly, so from here and up is the new roof.
I got it.
And are you removing the chimney?
I'm sorry?
The chimney, are you removing
Chimney
it?
we're removing because, yeah, it's not used well, and it's in the middle of the space. If I can show the plan for that.
Damn. Let's get rid of chimneys. I like chimneys, you like trees.
You spoke for the chimneys last.
Yeah, so we are taking out the chimney to create a full open modern floor plan from the inside while maintaining the outside look.
You're unquestionably, too, I think you're increasing the height by about 8 feet. I know it's within the allowable, but
Well-
it is still a significant increase.
Yeah, because the front, it does not,
Yeah.
if I go to the photos again, we do not have, it's like super low right now. We don't have a full height. And if I show the neighbor houses, they all have a full second floor. This house is to our left in the corner. The other houses on the right, they all have a full second floor.
Yep,
And just for this reason, we're still keeping the pitch low, not to get an attic, which we still could, but we really don't need the space. And even speaking of FAR, we're still like 150 square feet under the area. We're basically just getting what we need for our use.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no, it's helpful to see how it fits into with the other houses in the area. So,
It's the same height as the house next door?
why don't you take the microphone?
I mean, like,
I think your question was whether it's the same height as the house next door.
this has a full story, so I'm guessing we're not changing the ceiling heights and stuff, so it's probably about the same. Or I didn't measure, to be honest.
Great. Yep. And it looks like it's certainly no larger than, what's that house on what's that one? What
Oh,
number?
no, this is I think it's an R7, so it's definitely larger than
Okay,
ours.
okay.
We're still R5, but 2,400 square feet, a bit up, which is,
But that's still within, the neighborhood, right?
yes, but
Yeah.
we have an oversized lot.
I
Our
understand,
lot
yeah.
size is 8,000 square feet versus the 5,000 square feet that most of the lots are next to us.
Mm-hmm.
And still, we're maintaining good distances from the side setbacks.
Yep, okay. Any other comments from the public on 45 White Road? All right, not hearing any. I make a motion to close the public hearing on application 26-3145 White Road.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Right, any further questions regarding the application?
I would just recommend the same two conditions of a resolution of approval that applied to the previous application. I could read them again or not, whatever is your preference.
Read them again.
Sure. Okay. So the first one would
Because
be,
there's so many people who watch our YouTube video,
Sure.
and they're not going to want to have to rewind.
got it, okay. The first condition would be prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall provide a stormwater management and erosion control plan that is acceptable to the Town of Eastchester Building Inspector. That plan must show erosion control measures that are in accordance with the New York State standards and specifications for erosion control dated November 2016, and shall provide stormwater quantity control measures that are designed to demonstrate that there will be zero increase in the peak rate of runoff from the lot in the post-development condition when compared with the existing condition and the proposed condition during all storms through the 100-year storm. The applicant shall provide proof that all stormwater quantity control measures were properly installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy or certificate of compliance. And then number 2, this approval authorizes the applicant to undertake only the activities specifically depicted on the project plans. Any changes or modifications to such plans require amended site plan approval from the planning board.
Perfect. All right. And the piece about the stormwater, that's something to be resolved. So, subject to the conditions that Noel just read, I make a motion to to approve application 26-3145 White Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Right, good
Have a
luck.
great summer all.
Me too. Nobody knows how to maintain a fire anymore.
Next up is application 26-18, 134 Hillburn Road.
Good evening, everybody. Vladimir Levin, architect. There we go. This project is an addition on the north and south side of the house. It required 2 variances, a side yard variance and an impervious coverage variance, both of which were granted. The entire house, the exterior is being redone. We're adding a stone water table on the bottom of the house. The entire house is being re-sided with hardy siding. That's pretty much the project.
Is the height of the house being changed at all? Is the
It's not that the main gable is just being continued over to the right side of the property of the house. So everything from the garage door over to the right is an addition. So that main roof is being extended, and then there's that dormer, which is being added over the garage door. The gable on the opposite side, currently there is a smaller gable, and we're extending the main roof over to that side, so we're taking off that smaller gable and just adding a larger gable as an architectural feature. If you'd like, I have some existing pictures of the house if that helps to visualize. So that's the existing house.
I gotta say, I like the new version better.
Can you go back to the new version?
Yeah, I think it's a big improvement overall.
Can you go back to the new version?
The proposed, yes.
Sorry, the proposed. Got it.
Yep.
That's great. Big difference.
I understand that you received a couple couple of variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals, is that right?
We did, yeah. A side yard variance of 6 feet and an impervious coverage variance, which was rather large by, variance standards, but I think the zoning board recognized the hardship on the lot. There is an easement that runs on, I think, the south side, the driveway side of the lot, and that really creates a burden for the lot. If it was not for that easement, which is essentially a driveway which runs from Hillburn to the other street on the opposite side, we would not have this issue with the overage of the impervious coverage.
Okay. And then, as I understand it, the Architectural Review Board suggested that you at least explore the possibility of changing the front facade bay window with a different type of window, and recognizing that may be a substantial cost, maybe the owner's just wedded to a bay window. Can you explain the process that went into keeping the bay window? Yeah.
It's a good suggestion, and we realized that it would make a slight improvement to the elevation of the house, but the project, we went out to pre-bid with this project already, and it's way over budget as it is, and having to change that window just further increases, the budget. I think it's a small thing. I don't think it really destroys the aesthetic of the house, overall aesthetic of the house. It's a minor thing, really.
And I guess if it really bothers the owner up the road, they can, probably change it without, without really requiring anything more than a building permit, right?
It still may happen. We just have to see what the final numbers come in for the project.
Okay.
Yeah, so it still may happen. Yeah.
Okay, but it'll be approved
In this
like this, and if there is a modification, you'll let the building department know about it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry, there's an issue with the window?
The bay window in the front, there's, the applicant was just suggesting that because the ARB made a recommendation that they might want to explore replacing that bay window with some other type of window. But they're not going to do so right now, but it remains a possibility.
It's still.
But it's a cost issue, and we get it. We all have building costs at some point in our lives.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So,
What's the driveway material? It looks nice. Is that like a pebble, like a resin?
I took some artistic liberties there in the rendering, but it'll be asphalt.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to deceive the board, but
I liked it.
all right. I have no further questions on this application. Anyone else on the board?
No.
All right. So I make a motion to open the public hearing on application 26-18, 134 Hillburn Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, not seeing any or hearing from anyone, I make a motion to close the public hearing on application 26-18, 134 Hillburn Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, and I think we're ready to approve this.
I do have
Do we have
conditions.
anybody who might be able to read some conditions for us?
I could.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so I have two conditions to propose. The first is the same stormwater condition we've been hearing this evening. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall provide a stormwater management and erosion control plan that is acceptable to the Town of Eastchester Building Inspector. The plan must show erosion control measures that are in accordance with the New York State standards and specifications for erosion control dated November 2016, and shall provide stormwater quantity control measures that are designed to demonstrate that there will be zero increase in the peak rate of runoff from the lot in the post-development condition when comparing the existing condition and the proposed condition during all storms through the 100-year storm. The applicant shall provide proof that all stormwater quantity control measures were properly installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy or a certificate of compliance, And then number 2, this approval authorizes the applicant to undertake only those activities specifically depicted on the project plans. Any changes or modifications to such plans require amended site plan approval from the planning board. And would you like to include some language that says, however, the applicant may replace the bay window with a window consistent with the ARB's recommendation?
Correct, yes, I'd like to add that condition. Anyone have an objection to that?
No.
Nope.
You know, we'll say it may at the applicant's election, so it's clear that they could either keep the bay window or change it consistent with the ARB's recommendation.
That's a good point. Yep, I'm all for that. So subject to those conditions that Noel just read, I make a motion to approve application 26-18, 134 Hilburn Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You good?
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Good luck. Great summer. All right, and last up, application 26-17, 56 Anderson Avenue. Good evening. I'm sensing you're not going to get any objection from the public tonight. No, I'm not thinking so. Could be, you know?
Good evening, Joseph Crocco. I'm the architect for the applicant. First off, we received 2 variances from the zoning board for front yard and side yard, both which were already established, so we're going over the main body of the building, plus we're adding a rear extension. So from a 1.5-story cottage-style building, it's being turned into more of a 2-story colonial. There's only an increase of approximately 50 square feet impervious surface. We're taking the deck down, we're taking this patio out, so a good part of where the rear addition is going was already impervious. So the driveway is going to remain the same, the entrance is moving over. The house will be sided and clapboard white, white windows, and a dark gray roof. That's pretty much it.
Good.
I have pictures I didn't, you wanted to see.
Yeah, could you put them up?
Sure.
Put them up there and see if we can zoom in on them, perhaps? Yeah. But I think this is a very, you got a lot of bang for your buck here.
That's the front, that's the side of the house.
That's existing right now, right? Yeah.
The very small cottage style.
And what's the square footage existing and proposed?
Excuse me, I can...
Yeah, the square footage of the interior right now, what is it and what is it going to be?
It complies with the floor area ratio. We don't exceed the maximum permitted.
Yeah.
Also, the height is the same height of the existing building from action originally.
Okay. Just take a look at the application a little more closely. I'm just curious as to the numbers. Hold on. Yeah, so you're going from, yeah, it's
1,300 to 26.
yep, 1393 to 2294, keeping it just within the 2300 allowed. Well done. No, I think there's a very noticeable improvement. I think looks like a really nice job you've done with it. The ARB had, they recommended approval of the application as submitted, correct? Yep, no comment, all right. I really have no further comment myself. Any of my colleagues? Nope. All right, so let's not waste any time. I make a motion to open the public hearing on application 26-17, 56 Anderson Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody showed up. Again, no one was hiding after all. All right, so I make a motion to close the public hearing on application 26-17, 56 Anderson Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I think we've come to the reading of conditions.
Yes. Condition number 1, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall provide a stormwater management and erosion control plan that is acceptable to the Town of Eastchester Building Inspector. That plan must show erosion control measures that are in accordance with the New York State standards and specifications for erosion control dated November 2016, and shall provide stormwater quantity control measures that are designed to demonstrate that there will be zero increase in the peak rate of runoff from the lot in the post-development condition when comparing the existing condition and the proposed condition during all storms through the 100-year storm. The applicant shall provide proof that all stormwater quantity control measures were properly installed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy or a certificate of compliance. And condition number 2, this approval authorizes the applicant to undertake only the activities specifically depicted on the project plans. Any changes or modifications to such plans requires amended site plan approval from the planning board.
Excellent, thank you. Well read. So subject to those conditions that Noel just read, I make a motion to approve application 26-17, 56 Anderson Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good to go. And with that, we come to the end of our meeting. A happy 250th anniversary, 4th of July celebration to everyone. We'll see you all in September. I make a motion to continue the public hearing. I make a motion to adjourn the June 25th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. The next meeting will be September 24th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great summer, everyone.
Right.